All right, I need your attention here now. So we go through here. If you try to take the square root of the negative, that's where you get the no real solutions for that. And really double check here. So for like 23, 25, and 27, those are ones where you get the fraction for those. And don't be too quick to get that decimal. So for 29, 31, and 33, it will tell you to round. It will tell you to round. So that's what it says. So you want to have the decimal there. And we will tell you the same thing on the quiz. It'll say round to the nearest hundred. Other than that, it should be a fraction or a whole number. All right, so for 36, some of you were like, I was a little confused. Let's take a look at that one. And let's see here. The area of a square is 196 meters squared. Find the dimensions for 196 meters squared. And they just show you a square there. We don't know what the lengths are. We know the area equals 196 meters squared. Well, how do you find the area of a rectangle or a square? How do you find that area? That's something you've had before, Evan. Not divided by 4. All right, how about I do this? Hold on. This is a rectangle. That's 2 and that's 4. What's the area of that rectangle?
8.
8. You multiply.
That's kind of a perimeter.
So it equals.
The perimeter would be 6. You have to add them all.
Okay. Square is the same, except both sides are the same. So they just have that picture there. They labeled each side x. The area of this has to be x times x, which is x squared. So we're going to kind of go backwards. I don't know the size, but I know the area. So I can say x squared equals 196. You say x squared equals 196.
Stop.
So at this point, you can take the square root of 196, which is going to be 14. Now, theoretically, when we do all these equations, you get plus or minus 14, but since this is a application problem, you cannot have a negative length of a square. That makes no sense. So that's why the answer is just 14. Okay, you wouldn't use negative. Everything else is plus or minus. Everything else is plus or minus, but that wouldn't make sense in this case. All right, on the same idea. Okay, and you can just do this right on your homework. I want to pull up. This is from yesterday's guided notes. We didn't get to it, but if you got those, you can pull them out. But if they're buried, that's all right.
Our friendship will last forever.
All right, that very last one there. We didn't get to it, but maybe with the one before, we'll have a good idea. Oh, I don't know what. Miss Perzada, we'll go with that.
Holy crap.
She's building a retaining wall along one of the long sides of her rectangular garden. Okay. The garden is twice as long as it is wide. It also has an area of 578 square feet. What will be the length of the retaining wall? Okay, so she wants to build the wall on the long side of the garden. So here's her garden. This will be the retaining wall. We need to find that length. The area of the garden is 578. You cannot use X and X for both sides because they're not the same length. What key piece of information did they give us? Okay, Jordan.
The garden is twice as long as it is wide.
Okay, so how can I, so that means one side's 10, the other's 20. One's 15, the other's 30. So well, we just can't randomly guess. We want to figure this out. So how can I represent that with variables? Like if I let one side be X, what's the other side got to be?
X squared.
Got to be careful. X squared is not twice as long. Just think about this. What's 5? If one side's 5, what's 5 squared give me?
25.
25. Is that twice as big? No. So you don't square it. You multiply it by, make it 2x. So you're gonna multiply it by 2x. All right. I know the area is 578. I know one side is twice as long as the other. How can I merge all that information? Figure this out. Similar to what we just did with that square. How do you find the area of a rectangle? You take length times what? Width. Well, my length is 2x. What's my width? X, and we know the area equals 578. Now, how do you represent 2x times x? You would represent that as 2x squared equals 578. All right, so now this is basically what we did yesterday. How do I solve that? Okay, how do I solve that? Divide by 2. Good. Divide by 2. All right, now from the information we got, I'm willing to give anybody who gets the final answer right 1 bonus point on the tech quiz tomorrow.
I have a feeling it's a trick.
Don't be hollering it out or anything. Don't just write it down. You gotta read the question. I'm only gonna take it as exactly as the answer to the question stated.
That one is not mine.
Okay, will be the length of the retaining wall? So, all right, you got another minute to figure that out. If you think you got an answer, then you gotta make sure it's circled, or you tell me what it is. No crying if you get it wrong.
I can't promise you anything. I'm a big baby.
What's your answer, so? That's I'm getting a bonus point, you can't give me this or that. I'm gonna give you one answer. Which one? All right, we got one. You got one.
That is big.
That's hard.
It's not hard, says the
No.
genius.
Don't cry. No crying. You're crying. Right.
You gotta have two.
Wrong. Wrong.
He's wrong.
What's your answer?
No.
I know I got it.
Wrong. It's tears.
I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, it's not.
Right here.
It's wrong.
I don't have to.
You're not, your work's done wrong, you didn't answer it wrong. You didn't answer correctly. What do you got?
Hold on.
Okay.
That.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Play again. All right, you got 10
I
seconds.
got it. Yo, maybe.
What you got? Oh, that's okay. Square feet? You can't have a retaining wall with 7. Oh, that's wrong. Nope. You're wrong.
I'm a little off. I'm a little
I
off.
got. No. I'm not saying I do it. It can't be negative.
Yes.
That's what I got.
I'll tell you the answer.
Oh. All right. Zach's the Lone Ranger here. Oh, I'll give Ali one shot. One shot. What's your answer? All right, you get it. What's it? You got it.
I did what you did
What would be the
yesterday.
length
You
of
said
the
it was
retaining
wrong.
wall?
I caught it.
I can't answer that. I'm asking you to answer.
Oh my God.
Huh? Got another one.
Wait, what is the answer?
I've had that since the beginning.
I already
Do you know
know.
how you would answer?
No, you can't answer it.
Right here, is that it?
Is that number?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go!
Okay, we have-
Are we allowed to answer another one?
Okay, now,
It's 32. It's 17.
I'm crying.
all right, listen up. You got 17, you just didn't finish the problem.
We gotta divide.
It's-
I'll say like, come on.
Listen. What would be the length of the retaining wall?
What's 34?
All I had to say.
I'm collecting calculators.
Okay. When you do that, you do get plus or minus 17, and then you don't want the negative because it is, you're dealing with a length, so you can't have a negative length. Now, if you read through the question, the problem, it just says, what will be the length of the retaining wall? Based upon this case, it says the retaining wall will be built along one of the long sides of the rectangular garden. So that means X is 17. Okay. X is 17, and we said that the longer side is twice as long. So that's 34. So the answer to the problem has to be 34. Okay, so you need 17 to get it, but if you go through the problem, it has to be 34. All right, now either on your homework, whoops, hold on. All right, 4 problems, and then we're gonna go through these, and then we're gonna do a little bit of a review here.
Right now?
Thanks. Let's talk. Grant.
Yeah, that's not bad. 14 out of 16. What do you mean?
Yeah, I would be plastic about that.
Dude, you just have all of your stuff where?
Being organized.
No, yeah. I do my test. What is that?
Ew.
Hold on.
It would be so bad and then.
Wait, what did you get on that?
What's a 92?
Okay, hey, listen, too many of you are just stuck. Let's go through at least the first one. Too many of you are stuck. The only one that says round to the nearest hundred is the last one. That's the only one that could possibly be a decimal. Everything else would be a whole number of fractions. There's 2 ways we've been solving it. A, you could factor them, or B, use a square root. Well, this tells you to use a square root. When you have that, you want to get, this is the case, where you want to get the 1x squared by itself. So you add 195, and you get x squared equals 196. So whenever it tells us, and I will tell you on the quiz, and I will tell you how I want you to do it for now. It'll say solve using square roots. So you want to get x squared by itself. Once you have that, then you take the square root. All right, stop it. Okay, so once you get there, you take your square root. And the biggest thing, unless you're dealing with a word problem, make sure you put plus or minus.
Oh, bro, I see you.
So I believe it's 14 if I remember right.
Wait, what?
Okay.
All right, how did I get 196?
You added the 1 on the right side.
Now take the square root. Use your calculator. Use your calculator.
Wait, is that an I?
It's a plus or minus right there. Remember, we get two answers.
So all I have to do is just.
Yeah, square root. Okay, so now the second one.
You just did.
All right, write the second one down if you haven't already.
On a blank piece of paper.
No, I want to work this somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, so 4x squared minus 18 equals negative 9. Add 18.
It has to be a negative.
Okay. So once you get to this case, 4x squared equals 9, divide by 4. Now here's the issue. If you actually divide 9 by 4 on your calculator, it gives you a decimal. We don't want that, because it doesn't say round to the nearest hundred, it doesn't say round. And plus, if you take a look at 9 and 4, those are perfect squares. We know they're square roots. So at this point here, you take the square root. And when you do that, I don't have my calculator up. Take the square root of the top number by itself. Don't do the 9/4. Just take the square root of the top number. And then the square root of the bottom number. And for most of these, you should know them because they're not huge numbers. What's the square root of 9? 3. What's the square root of 4? 2. There we go. So that's how we get plus or minus 3/2. That would be your answer. I would expect that to be a fraction. Now, the third one, 2x squared minus 10 equals negative 12. Got to get that x squared by itself. So add 10. Because you get 2x squared equals negative 2. Still got to divide by 2. X squared equals negative 1. Now, some of you might, at this point, already like red light goes off in your head, or you might actually plug that in your calculator. But what does your calculator say if you do square root of negative 1? Or like domain or error, something like that. It gives you an error message. You can't take square root of a negative number. So when you get to this point here, no real solutions. No real solutions. All right, now that last one, copy that down if you don't have it. I got to go to the next slide. 0 equals. Yeah. Alright, so 0 equals negative 5x squared. And what was the other part? Plus 220.
So you learn to someone.
Okay, listen up. I need everybody's attention here. It's too much little side conversation. Zane, do you, any ideas what you're gonna do first?
Subtract 225.
You get 2 options. That's option number 1.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. There's another option that might be a little bit quicker. Joe?
Add plus 5.
I'd add 5x squared, because then I'm gonna not deal with any negatives. Now, if you did minus 225, it'll still work, but I'm still gonna add 5x squared. And so that gives me 5x squared equals positive 225. Divide by 5. Test it, actually divide by 5. It gives you a whole number, we're gonna write that whole number down. What is 225 divided by 5? What'd you get?
45.
45, it says. Correct. Yes. X squared equals plus or minus square root of 45. Now you hit the square root. It says 6.71. All right, now let's make sure we round it off correctly. I'd have to take a look at it because I haven't seen it.
70.
Yeah, 0.
0.8? Oh, then you're a rounding off genius.
You know
Calculator.
how to use
There
a
you go. You know how to round. Okay. Now this next piece, there's our answers. Okay, this is classwork. This is you don't have to submit this. You're going to get done with as much as you can. What you don't get done, I would suggest you finish at home. This is on your laptop. Okay, I don't have the worksheet to hand out, so you're going to do it on your own page. You go to the home page. And then if you just click on the link, it'll take you there and you can open it up. So right there. Here are the numbers. All right, so this group here, all of you, go with Mr. Schlur. Joe, you go. All right.
Yeah.
No, you stay. You stay. Yeah.
I need all that extra.
With the ring on? No. I'm going too, man. I'm trying to get right down. No. Determined.
All right. Now you guys need to quiet down and get to work. I'm going to call you up individually to go over